Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Paws Up Preview Halftime Show. I am Jake Gibson. That guy over there, who I believe is coming from Mr. Press's room at the bank, is Kevin Burrell, my good friend and co-host. And oh my gosh, Kevin, yeah, that first half was something special, man.
It was fun, man. Huge performance for Keywan Jenkins. Obviously, I think that's who I want to touch up on here.
Yeah,
240 yards, 2 touchdowns, one rushing touchdown for him. Really targeted Jalen Bracey and Chris Mitchell a lot. Mainly Jalen Bracey, 4 receptions, 76 yards, one
yeah.
touchdown. And obviously, we have to talk about the last play of the first half. I mean,
Oh,
for FIU's offense, the 64-yard dot to Chris Mitchell.
that was something
Aside from
special.
that, I do have a little bit of complaint with the offense.
Yeah.
Obviously, on a 3rd and 15, usually you should be passing the ball, don't run it. And aside from
Yes.
that, I think it was like a 3rd and 20 at right after. Same
Yes.
thing.
I mean, I had texted you about it as soon as it happened. Really, a draw play on 3rd and 15. And it's funny, we just kept, saying like, "Oh, these plays are not working." David Yost, what are you doing? And then and then FIU just absolutely took care of us, or FIU took care of UConn, and they look good. I mean, the offense. Again, the numbers don't lie. Look at the numbers: 240 yards and 2 touchdowns. That is insane from Jenkins, man. But the leading receiver right now is Bracey, Mr. Bracey, with 76 yards and one touchdown. Chris Mitchell himself also has a touchdown. So I think offensively FIU is looking pretty good. I mean, 24 points in one half is great. But yeah, I'd like to see a bit more creative play calling on those third down plays. But there were some drives where FIU was just cooking. But let's talk about. I
It's
think
hard to complain. It's hard to
yeah, it's hard to
complain about
complain.
like this team. I will say the defense after the first drive
That
really made
yes,
their adjustments.
and
Kind of looked like they were just running right through them. UConn was just running right through them, and they made a lot of adjustments. Obviously, you got to kind of just bad decision making by UConn as well.
yeah,
You realize that they were running it perfectly, and then after that, it's just like like they're passing it a lot
yeah,
more.
it's funny
Offensive
because
balance.
yeah, UConn. I think for the most part, UConn's offense lives and dies off the run. Right, the running game is really where their offense can get things going. But they went with passing a lot. And Robertson, granted, Robertson is in a tough spot right now. Okay, but he's
Yeah.
4 for 14, 33 yards, no picks, but he's done just about everything else as wrong as you can for this UConn offense. But you got to give credit to FIU's defense, like you said. That was a rough drive. The UConn's first drive, they took it right down the field, but to FIU's the defense for FIU, to give them credit, held them to a field goal, and they have put up nothing ever since. UConn, the defensive front seven for the Panthers has been limiting UConn's run game. We talked about this. This could be a game defined by the run, and it really hasn't. And I think a part of that has to do because of the actually beautiful weather in UConn right now. Right, sunny in the high in like mid
Little
70s,
windy.
little windy, but this is not a rainstorm. Okay, and I think if we had to grade FIU's defense, it's like an A+. It's as good as you can get right now. I'm gonna assume UConn's offense is gonna make some adjustments in the second half. So hopefully FIU responds and they just keep doing what they're doing because if they can just put up like maybe two more touchdowns, this game is over, regardless of what UConn does in the second half. If FIU
And I
keeps
told you,
scoring, they're gonna be
this would be a blowout.
yeah. It could start to look like that. Some other stats before we start to wrap up here. Kind of a short show, but total yards, 300 yards total for FIU. And in the first half alone, that's really good compared to 111 from UConn. 10 first downs for FIU. And probably the biggest sign of concern, 2 for 5 on third down. That's not great, right? It's not great. But in any event, UConn is 3 for 9. That is horrific. UConn has had to punt the ball 5 times. Their punter has had a lot of work today. And aside from that, there were a couple of holding calls, by the way, on FIU's offense. There was that one holding call, I believe, on Chris Mitchell on like third and short, where I looked at the replay. That was not a holding call, bro. That was not.
Yeah.
But aside from that, even stats. But Kevin, final thoughts.
I think it's worth mentioning that Jacob Peace went down
Yes.
for a couple drives. He seemed to get into that final drive with a touchdown, so he looks good to go. And aside from that, I wouldn't give it an A+, Jake, honestly. FIU had their moments where they just didn't look very good. Obviously, I think the
Yeah.
third down play calling does a lot of that, as well as just not being able to adjust at moments. You
Yeah.
look the defense did adjust, but towards the end of that first half, UConn just went right back to running the ball, and FIU just couldn't
Yeah.
stop them. And I think that's the big thing; they couldn't make tackles, and that's going to be a
Yes.
big issue.
But
So
then
aside
again,
from that, great
credit
first
to
half for
UConn's
FIU.
defense.
Can't say anything wrong.
Yeah, credit to FIU's defense on that last drive because UConn was starting to work it, but that clutch sack at the end took UConn out of field goal range and ended the first half. So good job by the defense
Yep.
there. And funny enough, Mike McIntyre said this at the end of the first quarter. But when questioned about how the players would react to having that horrible flight fiasco last night, he said they're students. They stay up late all the time. They'll be fine. And yeah, I think FIU came ready to play today. No doubt about it. Just like the Louisiana Tech game, they came ready to play. Now it's just time for them to finish. So your score: FIU 24, UConn 3. As we approach the second half here, that's Kevin. I'm Jake. We'll see y'all after the game. We'll do a post-game show. Should be a fun time. Hopefully, fingers crossed. But until then, pause up, everybody.